Wait for that thing to scroll past. There we go.
Why didn't it play in our thing in the here on StreamYard? I saw it on YouTube, but not here on StreamYard.
Oh, I saw it.
I saw it.
Okay, it's my computer. Then it's a piece of shit. Sorry, carry on.
Are you on some good stuff, Timmy?
I think my computer's on the good stuff. I'm just the innocent one over here wondering what the hell's wrong with my computer.
Hi, guys.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wednesday Night Live show. We've got a full show. Timmy's back. Michelle is here with me. And, of course, I'm here. Obviously, I woke up, so I'm here. What do we got on the schedule today? We have the Texas THC ban, SB3, set to Governor Abbott for approval. I saw that on Travis's post on Facebook, so I thought we dig into that a little bit. They're never happy. They always have something that go after us with vaping and disposables. So the UK, the BBC is making sure everyone that switches over back to regular vapes knows how to recharge their stuff. You know, it just seems like good or bad. It's like, well, okay, they're going to still get to have vape stuff, but let's still make it look like shit. And let's talk about what could possibly happen if you're not ready for it. Actually, it's kind of a good article because there's probably going to be some people that have never used a rechargeable device and it has been using disposables for quite some time. And now they're going to switch over and they need to understand that, you know, it's important that you use the cable and pay attention to your charging and stuff like that. So I guess in a way it's a good article, huh, guys? I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I have my opinions on it, you know, but I like the idea that, you know, at least they will substantiate with some cautious words and helpful advice for those that need to start making different decisions, but still allowed to vape. Yeah. Not always the case here in the U.S., and nor do they really care to share helpful advice. No, they just want us to believe everything blows up in our face.
Yes. Don't put it. Yeah, keep it away from your groin area.
Exactly. I was going to say your genitals or something. Make it the worst possible, you know.
You could end up becoming a trans vapor. That's all I'm saying.
Trans vapor. I love it, Jimmy. Jeez. Wait a minute. Do I have that button? No, it's one of these. I don't know which one it is. It's not working. I was gonna hit
and you know, it could work both ways if you think about it. Think about it.
I'm laughing too hard for that simple joke, but it's just good. Sorry,
you guys.
Then we're gonna go through, just a few links and articles on do we feel that the UK is changing their opinion on vaping? And I think it's important that we go through this because I think their opinion is still the same on vaping. I think their main focus is trying to get rid of disposables. So they made a few different changes to some of the laws and policy, which some of them are good. I mean, as far as advertising to youth, and the one that was a little bit surprising to me and is the what is that? I forget what that one was called. It's the like, say Tim as a YouTuber and he's reviewing products. He will no longer be able to profit from those videos. He won't. There's no what is that term? I forgot what the term is. Monetize, but it's a contributor or whatever like that. You're not going to be able to get paid. So I think that kind of puts a little damper on, I don't know how that affects Bogan because he moved there to get away from those regulations in Australia. So I have to get Bogan on the show and see how that all breaks down, because that's part of the new bill that will
July 1st, right?
Yeah, June 1st, 2025. Yeah. So they won't be able to. I don't know how that's going to work, and I don't know if that's just for children. Okay, sponsorship. Duh. God, why I couldn't get that word out? Sponsorship.
so he can still make money doing his reviews if he's monetized on his videos. He just cannot accept sponsorships from the vendors and get paid through them.
You're right. That's what it sounds like. The ban aims to reduce the availability and appeal of these vapes participating to young. But it says such as restrictions of advertising and sponsorships and plans to bolster enforcement of age restrictions. So we'll see how that all plays out. But I think it's important that everyone does understand that vaping is still available. Flavors are still available in the UK. They're just going after these. They're going after these little guys right here, and we'll get into all that. But before we get into all that, we need to ask the young lady at the bottom there what she did, how her week is going. How is your week going?
How's my week? Oh, you'd be surprised. I did nothing.
No way. Get out of here.
I didn't even cook barbecue. Nope. Didn't even do that. I didn't even do that. They had a pool party, and I didn't do that either.
You didn't go to the pool party?
No.
I'd go to the pool party just for the free food, Tim, right?
Well, I thought about it, but it wasn't worth it. Hot dogs and hamburgers. So,
hot dogs and hamburgers are like as American as apple pie.
That is true.
I know, but I cook. Hamburgers better than anybody, in my opinion. So
we'll have to put that to we'll have to put that to the test.
But that's okay. I just didn't really feel like it. It was hot and sunny, and I used to be able to get out in the sun, but I don't so much anymore. It's too hot, and now that I'm older and taking a few pills and things, I burn, and I don't like to burn. I've never burned before. When I burn, I'm miserable. So I just don't do it anymore. I mean, the tan that I get now is from walking my dog. That's it.
Yeah. Right. Microwave is requesting a smash burger. So am I.
That's a good. We should do it, John. You need to do a poll on that for the Friday night BS show, and which type of burger do you prefer, the smash burger or like the quarter pound or the half pound or the double patty? Yeah, find out what people like, because I'm torn at times. Sometimes I dig a smash burger, and then sometimes my ego is like, that's too skinny. We need something. We need thickness. We need medium rare.
Yeah, you need that.
When you make them at home, you can make them however you want. Like one of my personal favorites is you mix half sausage, like a sausage patty, and half a hamburger, and you smash it down, and then you pour homemade chili all over it, which could consist of however you like to do it, and then you put oh man, you talk about good, and then cheese on top of that, and steam it with a lid, and oh man, it just it's so good. And then you take French fries and put some jalapenos and some onions in it, and fry it up. Oh man, you and some good Southern food.
I love them both.
Patties, two smash patties,
right? It's mood. It's not hate. It's not like you can take your smash burger and go over there. No, they're like I totally dig a smash burger, but then sometimes I just want
just like a big chunk of meat,
thick patty, medium rare, just
juicy.
Yeah, just the juice rolls down your lip a little bit, Damn,
Timmy.
Now we're all getting hungry.
You know what I noticed this year? We've all been to many Memorial Day barbecues. It's kind of like the. I don't think it's associated with the first day, official day of summer. Like, it's not really the first day of summer, but everyone acts like that's like the beginning of summer. Summer begins after. But this year and it's funny that we were talking about food, but this kind of floated through my head the other day, and it's like, when's the last time I had Jello? And that used to be a staple.
I haven't had Jello in a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
See, it's not just me. I was sitting there going,
no.
When's the last time I had Jello? I started thinking Jello's been like a staple of Memorial Day weekend. It's like, there's some Jello, and and I'm like, God, I started thinking. 10 years.
You ever had a Jello cake?
Yes, Jello cake. Jello.
Yeah, those are good.
So it sent me down memory lane. I'm like, somebody's got to make some Jello, man. What the hell, dude? Yeah, Jello with fruit in it. I mean, Jello casserole. They used to have all kinds of stuff made with Jello. It just Jello doesn't. And it's weird too, because like my grandkids don't like it. They just think it's the weirdest thing, Jello. It's just strange, So we may lose Jello. Jello may be one of those in the food chain. I don't know where Jello goes in the food chain of whatever the food pyramid. I don't know where Jello goes in the food pyramid.
It would probably go way over here.
And then, with all the dyes and colors and stuff that they're going after Jello. Could you imagine just eating clear Jello, guys? Just clear Jello.
It'd be like tapioca.
You know what? That would be a good vaping argument at like a government hearing. Is just pull out like a plate of like colorless, flavorless Jello, and then and ask the senators, like, would you eat that? Would you eat that? Would you actually eat this?
It wouldn't look good now, would it? No.
No. Well, my weekend was filled with Memorial Day stuff, a little swimming and with the grandkids and barbecue. And now it's just been getting ready to get my daughter and my grandkids living here. So still kind of moving stuff around, trying to get everything situated for them. And it's been a busy week, and it's just going to get even busier this week. Hopefully I can stay awake the whole time. And the other day I canceled both my Friday show and my Monday show, because you're going to laugh, but I was cooking something on the counter and I dropped the knife. So I went down to get the knife and I couldn't get back up. I pinched a nerve or something in my back the way I turned, and I was done. I was out. I felt 80 years old, man. I was like, holy crap, man.
All right, everybody watching the show, that's your cue. We're all pitching in for Christmas to get John Life Alert. All right.
Yeah, no. What I want, no, not Life Alert. What I need is they use it, and mechanics use it. And it's this long metal rod with a magnet on the bottom of it. So if they were to drop a bolt in the engine block, they could use this. That's what I need. So this way I don't have to bend over anywhere to pick up stuff. I just use that magnetic device or an arm. Give me one of those claw arms.
Yeah.
And pick it up.
I keep those all the time with me.
Yeah. Short people need them when they need to get stuff out of cabinets. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Mallory. I didn't fall, Mallory. I bent over and couldn't bend back up. So
Same thing.
Same thing. Yeah. Might as well be on the floor, right, Tim?
Exactly.
Might as well be on the floor.
Doesn't matter how you got down there. All that matters is you couldn't get back up.
Exactly.
And that's about it. Just getting ready for the grandkids and my daughter and an extra dog. So my daughter's dog, but they get along. My dog and Blue get along very well. So I'm lucky there. They don't fight. They're both kind of 6 months difference. So they're still both puppies. They still want to play, but they don't fight for food. They don't fight for toys. So it's pretty good. So I'm excited to have my grandkids here for a while. Awesome. And we're going to switch over to Mr. Tim. Tim. Hold on, Tim. Tim.
Well,
Tim,
not introductions yet. Do you want to know how my weekend went?
No. This is Tim's. This is how his weekend started. You ready, guys?
Okay. Yeah. Me shredding in the pit of purgatory. That's exactly what I do. Once Friday happens and the bell rings, you'll find me with a guitar in purgatory, just shredding. Just shredding,
doing the hair,
selling my soul, hanging out with my wieners.
And the wiener dogs they wait for Tim to come home and wait for his adventures because they're excited to hear his adventures, like we are.
Exactly. Yeah, they love to hear about it just about as much as everyone else does. Yeah, so it had full weekend, absolute full weekend. Friday night brewery and what do they call it? Food truck food. So we did like the local yokel kind of thing, which was interesting. Until they turned the place into a club and then wanted to charge me a cover so I could go pay the tab. I'm like, what kind of fucking joint is this? But I didn't pay. They let me go in and pay my tab. They were going to get money one way or another, so that all worked out. Then Saturday, we gallivanted off to Dahlonega, Georgia for a 7-year-old's birthday party. Needless to say, Steve, it was a pool party, a legit pool party at a community pool. They had water slides and everything. So I'm not floating my own boat. I'm not getting an ego about it, but I obviously have to bring a gift for the child, right? For the child.
Did you read the packaging to make sure you bought a toy that matches?
No, you know what I do is you go in with no preconceived notion of what it is you're going to get. You just head towards the toy aisle, and then I try to put myself in the mind of that age range. Like, what would a 7-year-old want? And then I have a bit of old school built into me where I'm like, I'm not getting them anything like video game related because they're already inundated with the video games. Like they're all they're all jammed up in not Fortnite, but Roblox and Minecraft. It's like I'm sure the parents are like over that. Get them something that gets them out of the house and touches grass and experiences the world. So kind of went through the rows. So I opted for a toy called Gajillion Bubbles.
Oh no!
So, I love bubbles.
Yes. So I'm like, every kid loves bubbles. I don't care if you're 7. I don't care if you're 12. I don't care if you're 25. Everybody loves bubbles, and even better if it's a device that you really don't have to work that hard at. You just pull the trigger, look like a gun. So I had that going for it. Looked like a gun, and then it had and it was rechargeable. It was a mechanized battery powered gun that like launched like a gajillion bubbles. So that was the gift to the kid. Oh, we got him a couple like Matchbox monster truck things, just to kind of even the playing field. But that went over. That was a hit. That was like that was the big hit birthday gift for the day. Whereas like all the other parents all got him like Minecraft stuff and Roblox stuff. Couple Hot Wheels things. Anyway, so we did that on Saturday and parlayed that into a brewery. And then Sunday we made our annual migration to the Georgia Renaissance Festival. So we went and did that. So that's always a fun time. It's like you walk into a world of cosplay and theater and a bunch of tchotchke that you don't need to buy, So luckily we didn't buy too much. So we hung out and did that all day Sunday, and then Monday we had a cookout. Well, our neighbors were having a cookout and invited us over, and he did pulled pork, pork ribs on the smoker, a kind of a macaroni salad that looked like mac and cheese, but it was cold. It was like bacon and macaroni and cheese, and I don't know what was in it.
No Jell-O.
That was the disappointing part. There was no Jell-O involved, but we did have apple pie, cherry pie, and vanilla ice cream. So I stuffed my face beyond recognition to the point where I could barely move anymore, and fun was had by all. So yes, it was a full weekend. And just for the followers of my HOA adventures, no serious incidents at the pool just yet.
That's right.
It's still early. It's still early in the season. We just opened the pool on the 21st, last day of school for the Gwinnett County kids. Buford kids let out this week, so I'm just sitting idly by until something.
They're plotting. They're plotting, Tim.
Something's going to happen. I'm just. I don't know if it'll be pot. I don't know if it'll be assault. Who knows? It's going to be something. Something will happen.
You know how the HOA have their meetings? Those kids are having meetings right now. They're plotting the demise of Tim Swift.
Around here. It's a game of cat and mouse around here. I just have to be I have to be one step ahead of the opposition. So anyway, I don't know. I might electrify the fences. I don't know, but it's leaning that way.
That's what we need. Yeah. We just have extra security, so it's around the clock. During the summertime in the pool.
Yeah.
I will be more than thrilled to hire anybody who's part of the show or watches the show as extra security. Just understand it is an all gratis job. You do it out of the kindness of your heart and concern for the neighborhood. So I'm accepting applications now. Please send them my way.
And remember, it's Georgia. So they like to drink.
Yeah. Oh, and well, here's the good part. Here's you. While
even
you can't,
the kids.
while you can't do it within the confines of the swimming pool, like all I need is eyes on the situation. So you can hang out in the playground behind the pool, just walk the perimeter, whatever you want to do. It's Georgia. So you can.
Go.
Vaping is not banned in Georgia, so you can bring your vapes and you can enjoy your vapes on the outside of the pool while you regulate activity.
Yelling, stop running!
See my pool. I can see my pool from my back porch.
Yeah,
exactly. So I don't have an issue with that, but I can't.
It's an easy job. It's a real easy job.
Easy
you can even sit in your car for like 80% of the day with the air conditioning going. I don't care.
If just have eyes on the pool. Eyes on the pool.
Any shisty stuff going on, give me a ring. We'll be on it. Yep. We'll dispatch cops right away.
All right. That is we need a pool guy. Does the pool person need to be a lifeguard as well?
No, they as a matter of fact, I don't care if you can or can't swim. It doesn't if you can't swim, you security guard at your own risk. If you can, then you can take a dip in the pool for your lunch break. So
you get to watch the kids save the guy that's supposed to be watching them.
That would be a bad hire, John. That would be a really bad hire.
All right, Tim, you know what time it is.
I do. Kind of sets the mood, like as soon as you hear this music, what do you think of, John? Do you know what I think of? I think of security guards in swimming pools. As soon as this music comes on,
they can't swim.
That's the only imagery that it's not the soothing, sensual sounds of smooth jazz. It's security guards in swimming pools. And you know what security guards say when they see a kid messing around in the pool, don't you?
Oh no.
There you go. Hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wednesday Night Live Show, the Security Guard and Swimming Pool Show. We're glad everybody could join us for this wonderful subject matter tonight. Let's see who we got here in the chat. I already know one person who's in the chat. She was the first one out of the gate. She's usually always the first one out of the gate, first in your hearts. Mallory, do it your damn self. Gates is in the house.
Mallory.
What's up, Mallory? Good to see you. We got Peggy, who already got a middle name at eSig Source in the house.
Hi,
What's
Peggy.
up, Peggy? Great to see you. How are you? We got Microwave. I don't know how to pronounce the name of my food oven in the house. Great to see you, Microwave. He's a microwave. He doesn't need to know what was put inside of him. All he needs to know is, did it taste good? That's all he needs to know. We got Robert, not on a billboard, lawyer in the house. Robert,
hi, Robert.
What's up? Robert in the house. Good to see you, brother. How are you? Welcome back to the show. We got the Beast Gamer 69. That name's just so tight and just speaks volumes. The Beast Gamer. Like, dude, I'm not going to go head to head with you in a shooter.
No.
I'm not playing Counter-Strike with you because I just got a feeling it's going to be headshot on me all night long. So, Beast Gamer, welcome to the show. Who else? We got Tho, just let it be in the house. Tho, I got his last name right finally.
Yeah.
And he knows it. So so I pulled out my Beatles line for that one. Tho, just let it be in the house. Good to see you, Tho. I'm getting good at this game. This is a fun game. Who else we got? We got Steve, the Emoji King. Tottenham in the house, who's ready to come to he's ready to come to my house for a pool party. I already told him one problem, I don't have a pool. So I've gone on advice. Is filling the bathtubs and lying equal to that? Actually, Steve, what we could do is we could just have everybody come to my house, and then we'll pile everybody in the cars and drive 3.5 blocks to the swimming pool. and then we'll just quarantine. We'll commandeer the swimming pool for the day.
Yeah.
We don't have a grill down there, so we might have to. I don't know what we're gonna do about that. I don't know. Maybe we Uber our food in. I don't know.
We'll figure
something out.
We'll figure something out. Throw the grill in the back there, man. You throw the grill back there.
We'll figure something out. We got Neil, not related to the Pitts, and I don't. Did you get anybody catch that one? Like Brad Pitt? I don't. Aren't there other Pitts in this house? Neil, not related. See, people always ask me, like, when I go in to pay my tab or when I start a tab, or they go, you order another beer, and they go, "Do you have a tab?" And you go, "Yeah." And they go, "What's the name on the tab?" And I go, "Swift." And they always look at me like they've never heard that name before until I say, like Taylor.
Yeah, like
and
Taylor.
Then they get it. I don't know why. Am I not good enough? Do I not speak good enough English for you to understand that my last name is a Swift?
Yeah.
Anyway, I used to say before Taylor was a thing, I used to say, like, like Swift brown and served sausage, like butterball turkeys. They were always. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't. We got Kiki in the house. Kiki, you've only got one name. I don't know how to show. I can't put a middle one in there because there's no end. It's just Kiki, and we're done. Kiki. What's up, Kiki? Welcome to the show. Great to see you. And John, I think that's it. I think I got everybody.
Yes.
We got 19 watching.
I think we got everything. And I'm gonna just because this needs to be reintroduced into the American society.
Rainbow Jello, baby.
We need more Jello at Memorial Day parties. Let us know. Did you have Jello this Memorial Day weekend? And who's our Europe? We have a few people in the UK and Europe. Do you guys use Jello? Let us know. We're in. I'm at Do is where? Berlin.
Yeah, he's in Germany.
He's in Germany. Do you guys eat Jello in Germany? I'm curious. How does Jello?
Jello shooters are global, bro.
Yeah, Jello shooters are. Yeah, those catch up to you. You don't realize how many you had because they all taste so good.
You don't remember how many you've had.
Yeah, and about 30 minutes later, yes, Berlin, and yes, we do. There we go. See, they eat Jello over there.
Yes, sir.
Has it been a long time? That's what I want to know, because it has been a long time for me. And Jello used to just be the staple of summer, right? I mean, Jello, everything was Jello during the summer.
Hold on, I have to ask my beautiful wife a question. I'm going to go on mute for a second. I will come back.
Are you going to ask her about the Jello too as well?
I'm going to ask. Yes. Okay. Hold, bear with me 1 second, please. Thank you.
Yeah. He's gonna ask her, did she have Jello in Spain?
Hey, you know what? You never know. They have no. That's. I was gonna say Italy has the the lemon drinks and things.
Yeah, limoncello. I got some in the freezer.
Yeah. You do. I want some so bad.
But I can't drink that during the show because it's lemon infused with vodka.
Yeah.
So, all right. Yeah. So I've got one. Here's a poll question for everybody in the chat. How many of you in your lifetime grew up ever eating once or multiple times Watergate salad?
Watergate.
Anybody remember what Watergate salad was? It was made with lime Jello.
Oh wow!
It had marshmallows in it.
Yeah.
And coconut.
Was it a pun for Watergate? Is that why it was called?
I don't know why. I don't know where Watergate came from. I could look up the history on it, but it was like a thing that I remember having it. It was always something that got somehow mixed in with like Thanksgiving.
It's the first thing that comes up.
Dinner,
Google, stop listening to us.
Yeah, everybody Google Watergate salad. You'll know what I'm talking about. It's not code for anything weird. Don't end up on Urban Dictionary. It's like
also referred to Pistachio Delight.
That's right. It had pistachio in it too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A side dish salad or dessert salad made from pistachio,
microwave,
canned pineapple, whipped cream. Dude, that sounds friggin' delicious.
It is. It's really good. It looks disgusting, but it's really good. But to Microwave's point, he wanted to know what Nixon has anything to do with Watergate salad, and that's because Nixon didn't say what you think he said. It was what's the thing called?
Lord Crook.
Who was the leader of South Africa? The black guy.
Jeez. Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, the Mandela effect, right? The Mandela effect. Like everybody thinks that Nixon said, "I am not a crook." That's not what he said. He said, "I am not a cook."
Yeah, I am not a cook.
That's what he had to do with with Watergate salad. And you don't have to cook Watergate salad, by the way.
Yeah, drowned in Cool Whip. I remember this salad. I do remember this salad. It was pretty good. I liked it. Let's get off of Jello. Sorry, everybody out there. It hit me Memorial Day weekend. I was sitting there and I realized that I hadn't had any Jello in many years during late Memorial Day, and it used to be a staple. It was like an after dinner thing, like a cleanser. Some Jello. It came with the dessert. You put it on whatever. But it was just a thought. Tammy, I got the first article is the Texas THC ban SB3. Yeah, and I think it's in private chat.
Yes, it is. I'll get to that. But
I promise you, it's free. I promise you won't have to fill out any forms.
That's okay. Actually, I had saved a social media file that I was going to share, but I didn't want to force everybody to watch the video. But I thought it would be maybe at some point we can mention CASA.
Yes,
that was kind of big news this week too. So anyway, we'll get to that. All right. So the first one, the Fox News one, or
Fox 4.
All right. Hold on, let me bring it up here.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
The Texas THC ban. Let me present. Let me share screen. Too many clicks. We need to talk to StreamYard about how to reduce. This is not proficient.
Yes, I'm with you there. I think you should be able to just drag and drop it.
There's no. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, John. There's no ROI on this activity. Hold on. I'm not going to relaunch you, Chrome. I'm just going to make things bigger.
That's what she said.
The Texas THC ban, SB3, sent to Governor Abbott for approval. Well, the video that I had was one of the congressmen kind of arguing, the House senators or whatever, kind of arguing. And I just thought it was kind of an ironic speech that he was giving, because he was basically parroting all the same things that we've been saying about vape bans and stuff like that, and how it drives people to a more unsafe market, the unintended consequences. Why are we backtracking? That whole kind of thing. It's safer than alcohol. Like basically just insert a bunch of different words and nuanced conversation.
Same script, just a few different words.
Yeah, but it would be nice to hear like a senator argue on the same points about vaping. Like to see this guy like putting on the boxing gloves for THC and that market, which I'm not chastising any part of it. Fine, yeah, great. So at least somebody stood up. But to hear somebody have that same fervor for vaping would be nice every once in a while.
Yeah.
So the brief, the Texas legislature has sent Senate Bill 3, isn't that 53? Oh, SB3, to Governor Abbott's desk for approval. Apparently, I can't tell the difference between an S and a 5, but we'll talk about that later.
Tim's having a stroke. Tim's having a stroke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm short-circuiting here. Or I've gone dyslexic rather quick.
Timmy, did you plug yourself in this morning? Remember?
I did not. I'm running. Yep, I'm running on low battery right now.
Remember what they think we are. Remember, okay?
I need one of those superchargers in my house, like a Tesla supercharger,
just in case they've forgotten. Tim is not a robot. I am not a robot.
The bill would ban all THC products in the state. Non-intoxicating CBD and CBG would still be allowed. All right, whatever. On Sunday, the Texas Senate agreed to changes to Senate Bill 3 made by the House. The bill passed by a 25-6 vote. What is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
Dig deeper. SB3 will ban all cannabinoids and consumable hemp products except for CBD and CBG. Never heard of CBG before.
I was just wondering. I was just
familiar with the D's, not with the G's, whatever alphabet letter they decided to move to on that one. But I do remember when CBD was really popular, like all the rage, when everybody was putting their, like all the celebrities were slapping their name on CBD products and all that. So I'm familiar with that stuff. Businesses in the state were allowed to sell THC products after a 2019 expansion of the hemp industry, and Texas opened a loophole. Those products included THC-laced edibles, drinks, vapes, and more. SB 3 was passed by the Senate before being amended in the House and was passed to its third and final reading earlier this week. Small business owners led the pack in opposition of the bill. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, a major proponent of the proposal, believes the thousands of businesses peddling the products are a detriment to the state. Owners and employees of those smoke and vape stores, on the other hand, are concerned about the loss of business revenue and a fortune in tax dollars.
Yeah.
More than 8,000 retailers in the state sell THC products, according to estimates. So what's next? The bill now goes to Governor Greg Abbott's desk for approval. If signed by the governor, the law would take effect in September, so this year. So they're quick about it. The bill does not put an end to Texas Compassionate Use Program, which allows for medicinal marijuana for a limited number of conditions. So to divert from this, so while we were at the kids' pool party, the father of the kid that was turning 7, he shared with us his medical marijuana card. And so it's true here in Georgia, it's not legalized, but you can get medical marijuana card. Of course, you can get, and from what I'm being told, at least from here, is that he did it all via like a tele thing. Online. Like he didn't go to an actual doctor and like sit down, and he like in like 10-15 minutes he just basically said what was wrong with him. So my gut feeling is, and I don't know Texas that well, but I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that that's probably gonna be where everybody's gonna rush to. Everybody's gonna be doing tele stuff to get their medical.
Well, they're limiting it to certain illnesses, though. So that's the difference.
Well, I'm gonna have that illness. That's what I'm telling you. Whatever those things are, check. Yep, all of them. Yep.
I bet you have to have your. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, I bet you have to have your doctor suggest or make an appointment for you or something in order to call the tele people.
Yeah,
that part I'm not certain of. He just, from what we were told, the story straight from the horse is that it was literally like it was easier than getting like a walker's ID or driver's license. Like basically, he just scheduled a telecall, and they asked him what his conditions were and what other methods had he tried. Have you tried Tylenol 800? You know, like dumb question. And they were like, yeah, didn't really help. And he went, okay, boom, here's your card. It was like that easy. Yeah.
That's exactly what's going to happen there, Michael. Google search query in Texas, how to fake glaucoma.
Exactly. Yeah. Check your Snapchat now. I'm sure there's a glaucoma filter on Snapchat. Just stream that when you take the teleconference call.
Look at my eyes. Look at my eyes.
Look at me, Doc. Look at me.
I need this shit.
Exactly. So anyway, we know that much. And it says House Bill 46 looked to expand those conditions. So they are trying to add more to the list. So my guess is this will be loophole number 2.
Yeah.
Rep this from Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. Tomato. Rep Tom Oliverson.
Yeah, that's a weird last name.
And I have come to an agreement to add chronic pain as a qualifying medical condition to TCUP, Compassionate Use Program. For those who suffer chronic pain, is currently defined by the Texas Medical Board rules. Dr. Oliverson, and God, that poor doctor, I'd be butchering his name all day.
Yeah,
I just call him Doc. I'd finish there.
Yeah, Dr. O.
Dr. O. And I've spoken with the author of. Great, they cut it off. Why could I don't want to go to Twitter from here?
Yeah. Don't click it. Yeah.
On Sunday night, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick announced he struck a deal with Rep Tom Oliver. Is he a doctor or a representative? Come on.
He's both, man. You know that.
Dr. Representative Tom Oliverson to include chronic pain as one of the conditions. Patients in hospice and with a terminal illness would also be included. Thank goodness. The bill would also increase the number of licensed medical marijuana dispensers. So there you go. There's your state revenue right there.
Yep, there's your revenue. That's
yeah.
the whole ploy right there, is to get it to be all through the state.
Right. And so I don't know what the total population of Texas is, but my guess is it's going to be like 95% of the people in Texas are all going to own medical marijuana cards.
Yeah. Oh, what I see happening here is exactly what happened in California when they first approved marijuana and THC and all that stuff here. The dispensaries just all took off. Everybody, they were opening up like crazy. And then next thing you know, the government stepped in and started making everyone pay certain fines and fees. And if you want to stay open, you got to have camera. It made it very expensive to stay in business here in California, and took down a lot of shops. And what that caused was the fact that the black market became such a big deal here. And again, I can still go to people that in my inner circle that will tell me the same thing every time. It's cheaper on the street than it is in a dispensary.
It is. Yeah.
So, this is just going to create a black market, and in an area where I think it's even worse, than California, because you have Mexico right there. So, there's going to be a lot of marijuana coming in from the Mexican border. And a lot of that stuff may be tainted or in some way or shape or form with fentanyl and whatnot. So we probably, I hate saying it, we're probably going to see a lot of health issues coming out of Texas for people that just can't get a medical card, for one reason or another. It doesn't say how many they're willing to give out, and that's always been an issue that I understand happened here in California as well. Is they set a number of medical cards that they were going to give out. And then when they exceeded that number, it made it impossible for the person that actually really needed it to get one. So hopefully that's not what's going to take place in Texas, because that could get very scary.
Yeah, well, that was one of the arguments that that in that video that I had saved, where that same senator or House representative was saying that effectively this ban is a gift to the cartels. Effectively, like, you're making the argument that we need to stop the cartels, stop the flow of drugs, stop all that stuff, and then what are you going to do? You're going to ban THC in the state that borders right on all of that, and you don't think that it's going to get chaotic, and that marketplace is just going to. And so, I was just going to say too, John, that get ready for Uvalde wave 2. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be some nasty shit that comes in that people are going to be trying to get their hands on. And, unfortunately, we're going to get swept, under the, we're going to get caught up in the nonsense, just because they're going to say we had, like, no, like you banned something totally else.
Yeah.
But because you like to use that one common term.
I was wondering, I don't know how how it all works. I don't know if, say, the Texan can go into California and buy through a dispensary and come back into Texas. I don't know how all that works, as far as, if here you don't need a medical card, correct? I don't think you need one. You just need a driver's license, and you need to be 21, I think. So, or 18. So what stopped, other than the drive, which would be a hell of a drive, but what would stop that person from going, say, into, I don't know what well, actually Colorado would be closer, correct? Colorado would be closer to Texas than California. So what would stop that person from going into Colorado, buying marijuana, and coming back into Texas? And it lost revenue. It's just lost revenue for the state and for the city that person may live in, that could have drawn that money and taxes, for a product they should have been able to buy in their town. So I don't know how that all works. I don't know if someone with a California driver's license, or I'm sorry, a Texas driver's license, can go into a dispensary here in California and buy THC or marijuana. I don't know how that works. If anybody knows out there how that works, I have no idea.
I can comment on the state of Georgia, because I had some of these questions as well, because it became very apparent to me that there were people here in this state who were acquiring medical marijuana cards. And I'm like, but how does that work when we don't have any sanctioned dispensaries,
right.
you know, like what, like okay. And this is a dumb person question. So I don't know entirely, but are all of the Delta products being considered THC products as well?
Yeah. I didn't see any Delta 9 on there either. Yeah. Delta 8.
Because they're different extraction, but they kind of come from the same place, right? But that's another question that could be answered separately. But I do know that I asked questions about this. I'm like, well, why are you, if we have no state sanctioned dispensaries that sell flower or anything like that, then like, how do people utilize their medical marijuana card? Like, there's nowhere for them to go. So what it did say about Georgia state law is that as long as you have that medical marijuana card, you will not be in trouble for possessing any of that stuff in the state of Georgia. So as long as you have the card, you can go anywhere else in the country and get it and transport it across state lines, and they can't say anything to you.
Oh, okay.
So that part is safe. But then I asked the father too, like, I'm like, well, then how does that work, bro? Because I don't understand. We don't really have like, I'm like, you know, can you just go get the Deltas? And because like it doesn't, like if I wanted Deltas from a vape shop down the street, like I can just walk in and get Delta stuff.
Yeah.
Like I don't need a medical marijuana card for any of that. I can still go get that. So they don't see that in the same light. He's like, well, he said it's different. He goes, I can't buy flour, but I can actually go buy like edibles and tinctures and all that other stuff that's of that medicinal level THC. So he said, but he goes, the Delta stuff doesn't do anything for him. He said that doesn't work. He said, but if I use the other stuff, he's like, it doesn't, you know, zoom me or make me, you know, Chinese eyed on the couch wanting to eat Doritos. He's like, I just feel normal. I just feel perfectly normal, and that stuff works for him. So clearly there are some places here in Georgia where you can get that stuff and you need your card for that. But if you go get it somewhere else out of state and bring it back in, you're still okay as well.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I've read some of the articles that says that you can't transport it from state to state. So I think all that's going to depend on your state.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if you go from one state to another, they may or may not have a legal way of purchasing it in that state. Obviously, at that point, you're illegal.
Yeah, you're
transporting it, you know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
But other states will allow you to say, okay, you know, you've got the card that says you're legal there, so you're okay to transport it wherever you are in the states. But then other states, I believe the article was saying that you've got a card, you're in a legal state, we accept it, but you can't have it on the street area. You can have it at your house. You can, you know, as long as you have a receipt for it, you're okay.
Yeah,
but it has to be you're bought in the state that you're in. So I think it all depends on the state that you're in.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you live in a state that bans flour, you no matter where you go and get it and bring it back in, you're in violation of their law. Yeah. CBG, I looked it up, is early research indicates CBG may have numerous health promoting properties, Tim, including anti-inflammatory and anti-anxiety effects. So there you go.
That's almost CBD, basically.
That's what it is. It's just maybe a little stronger strand. That's all. Or a specific part of the strand that helps with anxiety and anti-inflammatory stuff. So I know that's the trick with flour and CBD. I mean, depending on the strand, they can pull different parts of that strand that help. It's insane. Back in the day, Timmy, all we did was fill a bowl load. We didn't care where it fucking came from. We didn't care what it did. We didn't care any of that stuff. We didn't care if it helped our anxiety or if it helped with anti-inflammatory problems that we may have. Not that we had any when we were 15. Yeah, didn't have any when we were 15. But yeah, the whole, you know, you look at like what we had to go through to get it, and now. And certain parts of the United States, it has become a lot easier to get, but now it's so expensive that you can't get it. So you're going back to the streets to get it from, you know, everybody has a guy. We all have a guy, you know, to get that stuff. And it's going to come down to, do you trust your guy? Do you trust the guy you're buying it from? And it's a scary thing, and it shouldn't be this complicated. And I know it's not. Let's be honest. It's not early into this industry being allowed in some of the states. I think Colorado's the first to implement it and allow people to purchase marijuana in shops and stuff and make. And I remember in the early days of Colorado, I remember the headlines. Colorado State has no idea what to do with the extra surplus. They had articles in newspaper asking taxpayers what to do with the extra surplus they had, because they were selling so much marijuana, and that surplus wasn't expected, to be there. And now they have all this extra money, and they were asking the people, how do you want us to spend it? You want new school buses, schools, roads? It could benefit California in the right way, and all these other states if they just let up on it a little bit and make it affordable. And one of the things that I saw, it was a Netflix special, and it was talking about the farmers' end of it and how the farmers were getting screwed out of this whole situation because they used to get this much for a pound of marijuana. And now they have to sell the marijuana at this price. So, they keep keep the distributors and the state taxes and all that other stuff to stay afloat. And one of the farmers, which was up north, way up north, which is known for some of the best green bud ever, was burning it. They were burning hundreds of pounds of marijuana because it was cheaper for them to burn it than to try to sell it at that price. They weren't willing to sell it at that price when they were getting $2,000 a pound, and now all of a sudden they can't sell it for more than 8 or 9. So it's crazy, and I hope they figure something out. Because right now in California, just to stay afloat and keep a business open, a distributor, not a distributor, dispensary open, you have to have cameras, 24-hour surveillance in your shop. So the government can access those cameras at any given time. That's expensive, guys. I work for a security company, and I know how much we charge to have a camera in front of your business. It's not cheap. Now, can you imagine having 15, 16 cameras all through your shop and in your warehouses that you're growing this stuff? Who the hell wants to watch that? Oh, look at that, that's growing good. Oh yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
Big brother shit. Well, they're also probably eyeballing the dispensaries and making sure that they're not trying to get by doing stuff that's unscrupulous. To further clarify, I did look it up, and to Curtis's point, hey Curtis, good to see you, brother. In summary, possessing and transporting THC products across state lines, even for medical use, is illegal under federal law and is not permitted in Georgia. So you can't go get it somewhere else and bring it in.
Bring it. Yeah.
But
that's what I thought it was.
But when when certain states were legalizing recreational use marijuana, I had heard stories from several people that a lot of people who were effectively farmers or growers, a lot of people were still subverting the federal programs because it was costing them a buttload of money to get invested into the industry to get the licensing in order to be able to grow and sell. So the upfront costs for them were not worth it. And so a lot of people, even though it was legal to sell in their state for recreational use, they were not jumping into the state sanctioned program to sell it. They were just still selling it illegally, technically.
Yeah. And most, like in most places, you're allowed so many in your own home. So, I don't know how they come up with that number that you're allowed to have. It makes absolutely no sense, and because everybody smokes a little different. So if you say I can have 6 plants, is that enough for me to to have for my personal use? I don't know what anyone's personal use levels are, but I'm sure it fluctuates. I don't know. You're right. I mean, they allowed it. They brought it into some of the states, and then they taxed the shit out of it, and they made it so expensive to start a business. And these were people that have been doing it for 30, 40 years prior to this, that have the talent, that have quality products. And now all of a sudden they're like, well, okay, you need a license that's going to cost you $15,000 a year. You need, you have to find a place to have a business, and now you're going to get taxed because you're selling a product that maybe they don't want in that area. So now you're paying extra to have a lease. So it gets high. I mean, I can understand why some of these people have that sense of feeling where it's become set up that the pharmaceutical company is just going to take over the whole business, because that's what it seems like. That's where it's going, where all of a sudden it's just going to be the dispensaries are going to be owned by pharmaceutical companies, and they're the only ones that are going to be able to afford the licenses, the fees, the taxes, all that nonsense. It's insane, and it's not fair. It isn't fair.
So I have a question, because I didn't actually read much into that bill, but what is the reasoning for the THC ban? Like, what is the problem? I mean,
they never stated, Tim. I looked too. I was like, okay, why? How did they get from where they were started to where they are now? Is it?
Is it the kids again? Is it?
No, they're not. Nobody. I haven't ever read anything that talked about the kids necessarily. It's always been vape, meaning that they want to throw those kids onto the nicotine vape. But
right. So why the THC concerns? Like, did they have like a dramatic rise in DUI situations where people were super high and driving? Where, I mean, I can guarantee you it's not because violent brawls were breaking out everywhere. That's not happening. So I'm just curious as to why all of a sudden the backpedal or the 180 on this. I don't seem to understand. I never saw one thing where they identified exactly why this ban was so important.
Yeah.
Like, what's the risk to the community? I mean, the places people were getting this stuff were from government regulated businesses. So they already had their hand in the cookie jar to begin with. They had to have some statistic or something that said, well, we've now been able to monitor what's been going on, and crime has gone up. Like, is it crime? Is it, like, what happened? Most people are just doing it in their home anyway, I would think, or at least in places that aren't, I mean, not everybody's going to do it at home. Like, people are going to go get high before they go to the bar and watch the game or whatever. But I'm just wondering what the issue is.
Public safety and concerns about intoxicated cannabinoids. I don't know. I hate that word.
Cannabinoids.
Closing the loophole. Lawmakers argue that 2019 legislation of hemp in Texas created a loophole that allowed for the sales of intoxicating hemp. So that was one of them. Protecting the children, Tim. Protecting the children. A major concern is protecting the children, and also unregulated products so that would be what you're creating with this bill, is creating unregulated products. Is what you're exactly doing.
Well, I've always found a bit of hypocrisy in this space, and I've mentioned it before on the show, where, look, I'm not opposed to it. I'm not I get it that, not everybody wants some big, huge glass bong or some massive water pipe, or wants to do the thick gooey stuff, the dabs and stuff. I get not everybody wants to go down that path. They want something more attractive to consume it, like in the form of gums, candies, gummies. Fine, so be it from the adult perspective, but being that I kind of saw some contradiction in the THC space, with those being like baked goods and those kinds of things being offerings for how to deliver the dosage, I'm like, okay, compare that to the vape industry. Like, we don't have gummy vapes. Like, you don't put a gummy bear in your tank and let it melt and then vape it. But you want to make the argument that vaping and flavors and those things are attractive to kids. Well, then how can you make that substantiated argument when you go and you look at the THC industry and you're like, well, you got Rice Krispie treats and you got cookies and you got brownies and you got gummies and you have candy and all that. So like, okay, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. Like, if you're gonna call foul over here, you got to look at the obvious thing that I think a kid would be like, "Ooh, snap! I can just go to lunch with a bag full of gummies, and no one will know." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Tim, I actually hit. If you go to the private chat, that third one I just added, that's kind of the breakdown of what they're trying to accomplish with that.
This is an addendum to what we just did.
Yeah, it breaks down why they're doing what they're doing.
All right, so let me read it for the wonderful folks in the chat. Texas Senate Bill 3, or SB 3, which is currently awaiting Governor Abbott's decision, seeks to regulate hemp-derived products and ban the sale and possession of products. So great, let's create more criminals. Of products containing THC, with exceptions for non-intoxicating CBD and CBG. Here's the breakdown of the key reasons behind the bill. Concerns about unregulated THC products and their accessibility, protecting public health and safety. Proponents of the bill argue that unregulated THC products, particularly those containing high levels of Delta 8 and Delta 10 THC, there you go, they've lumped them in, pose potential health risks, especially to children and adolescents. Now, I will say that I'm quite familiar that some of the Delta products, when you read the bottle, you're like, what? Like, they can put that much in there? Like, you know, like you have to start doing some math, which, you know, that's not my strong suit.
Math is hard.
Yeah, but it says on the outside of the bottle, like 750,000, you know, and you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
And kids go.
The kids are like, hell, I don't even need my calculator for this.
And you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I got to divide by like 45, so it's not that bad, right? Closing the loophole, Texas law previously allowed the sale of hemp products with less than 0.3% Delta 9 THC, but other forms of THC, Delta 8s and Delta 10s, weren't explicitly capped, leading to the proliferation of unregulated products with psychoactive effects, according to CBS News. Limiting access to intoxicating products by banning all forms of THC except CBD and CBG. The bill aims to restrict access to products with psychoactive effects. Okay, well then why ban it? Why not just set regulations that say if you sell 8, 10, 12, what's the other one? It's not adult. It's a different combination. It's like
HC or something. No.
Yeah. There's another one that's out there.
Yeah.
I'm like, why not just TPD it, right? Say you can't have anything in the state that's greater than 0.3%. What's the problem? Why, you know, then enforce regulation and start taking out the products that are on the market that are the ones that you claim are highly intoxicating. Leave the other ones alone. If you want to prosecute people, throw people in jail, well, then throw people in jail who are shelling out and doling out the really strong ones. You know, I mean, I don't want to see anybody go to jail for shit like that, period. Anyway, I'm just saying this seems kind of stupid. It's like, if that was your cap and you were okay with that, well, then just cap everything else the same way.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
I can do the because it says impact of business SBC will have a significant impact on the Texas hemp industry, valued at $8 billion. Could lead to the closure of many businesses to sell THC. Revenue loss. The ban could result in significant loss in sales tax revenue for the state and local governments. And this is the tricky one. increase law enforcement costs. I wonder why. You're putting the new criminal penalties associated with the bill could also increase cost of law enforcement and the court system, because you're going to get a lot of people in jail. Guess what?
Well, and that makes the state money too, right? Because you got like all these people got to pay fines, pay tickets, pay lawyers to stay out of jail. But you're going to end up throwing people in jail who are not a threat to society, not a threat to the community. They're just people with conditions and problems and dealing with the stresses of life. I mean, we all can collectively agree I think at this point in time, no matter how you slice the cake or how you want to view the world, all these things add stresses to our life. Social media adds stress to your life, everything. So I mean, just somebody chilling who just wants to calm down and relax, now they're going to be in the clink with people that they really don't need to be in there with in the first place, like people that are 10 times worse.
And it's always the same thing too, the same analogy that everyone uses in the marijuana industry. It's like, okay, what's the difference between me going home and drinking a whole bottle of bourbon and the guy that goes home and smokes a joint? The guy that smokes a joint's not getting in his car. I guarantee you that. He's prepared. He has snacks in the refrigerator. He's ready to go. Yeah, at home. The guy that drinks the fifth of Jack Daniels, the only thing he's thinking about is, I need another bottle of Jack, which he doesn't have. So he's got to get back in his car. I just, it's just so stupid. And we have the same argument with alcohol with vapes, and it's just like, it's so socially accepted that, hey, so what if Johnny has, fifth of Jack Daniels every night? He's not bothering anybody, it just, for me, it's just the whole concept is so stupid and it doesn't make any sense. I can choose to go in to a liquor store and buy whatever alcohol I want, whether it's flavored or as much as I want. No one's going to say, hey, John, you can't buy 5 bottles of Jack Daniels. Nope. Nobody's going to stop me. Nobody's going to say, oh, well, that lemon vodka, that's bad for kids. Nobody ever even puts those two together. It's like, okay, well, we have flavors of alcohol. We have flavored everywhere. And it's just, for me, it's upsetting and it's just bullshit.
Yep. So Jeffrey Zamora,
Curtis likes his cocaine.
Curtis, I agree. I hate cocaine. I just like the way it smells, brother.
I do too.
So, Jeffrey made a wonderful point.
Yes.
Hi, Jeffrey.
Exactly. Jeffrey, I don't own a bear. Zamora. We should roll R's on both sides of that coin. Jeffrey Zamora. Yes, sir. He made a perfectly good point. I mean, maybe this is the sign that, the two sides need to somehow band together. He said people on cannabis, cocaine, and all other psychoactive substances should be more involved with nicotine because it's the lab on how the regulation of those substances will be in the future, right? Because we're kind of all, even though we have our own little portion of the world in terms of our consumption usage preferences, it's the same argument, it's the same story. There are benefits to it. There is sensible regulation that can come out of it. It's less harmful than other things that you're leaving on the market that that the kids are going to use anyway too.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, to me, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense other than it's money's involved. And it just seems like right now is I hate saying it, but it seems like we're on the path to maybe having 5, maybe 6 companies that are going to be making e-liquid, and probably half of those are going to be either owned by big tobacco or a pharmaceutical company. That's what it feels like we're ending up at, and I think these people that, hate me, but I think these people that have these PMTAs that are in the process at the FDA, I think eventually a majority of these guys are going to run out of money and time. And guess what? Guess who's going to walk in and say, hey, we'll buy those PMTAs from you. We'll buy your company from you. And then guess what happens? All of a sudden, FDA just says, hey, well, we're gonna pass all these and they're gonna go through, and the next thing you know, we just have, like I said, 5 or 6 companies that are going to be distributing e-liquid for the whole country. And again, big pharma wins, big tobacco wins. I hate
but
saying
they want what they want.
That's what they want.
And we're fighting till the end.
Yeah, they want to control the market, and they see that nobody cared 15 years ago. Everybody brushed us off. They're like, big deal.
Curtis, all of your flavored cocaine is at the grocery store. It's inside. It's in the Jello packets, dude. It's in the Jello packets.
Yeah, and Art says, yep, and then they get rich and richer. That's the truth. That's all. That's what it seems like. It just, and then maybe 10, 15 years down the road, Congress will step in and say they got a monopoly, hopefully, and then maybe we'll start seeing the mom and pop stores come back. But until then, I think that money buys power, and I think that's what we're fighting. We're fighting, 2 major corporations, world corporations, the big tobacco and pharmaceutical companies, who see a market that's in the billions now. That was, when they were $100,000 market or 50, 200,000, 500, even $1 million, they didn't give a shit. They didn't care if we were $1 million market. They cared. Like, now that we're in the billions, they see profits, and they see their profits losing to nicotine. Nobody's buying nicotine patches. Give me your friggin' break. Nobody's buying the gums. Nobody's buying any of that crap. We want our flavored vapes. So for me, it's coming down to money. It's who's going to have enough money in the end to continue to move forward. And I don't know. I don't know. Juul, maybe Juul.
I hate to see big tobacco become the vessel for survival. But I have to kind of agree with you, John. We're always going to stand our ground and be like, we're not big tobacco. We don't want to be a big part of that, because if you really think about a lot of the anti-advocacy that we are been fighting on the social media channels, the ones that parrot shit all day long, like, Pave and all that stuff, and Turk and all those other yucca pucks out there, the first thing that comes out of their mouth is they link us to big tobacco. Like, they without hesitation throw every ounce of this industry right into the same bucket with big tobacco. Like, we're either paid shills, we work for and advocate for, and that everything that everybody's touching on the streets is somehow a big tobacco product. It's like, no. It's not. It couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth. Like, maybe there's a couple, like the dude that bought the Juul, or the dude that bought the Enjoy, or the guy that bought the Blue. Like, yeah, like those are inherently linked. But this Fogger thing right here has nothing to do with big tobacco. But I do feel like it is kind of going that direction to where it won't be a pure monopoly. In the sense that there are multiple big tobacco organizations, but it will be a monopolization of the tobacco industry. And it's a matter of where the concessions come from, right? How many people quickly give in to stay afloat?
Yeah, and who's to say the big tobacco and the pharmaceutical company? Because if you start thinking about synthetic nicotine, who can produce that? Big pharmaceutical company. Pharmacy. So for them it would be a cakewalk to just say, hey, you know what, those chemicals that you need to make it, guess what, it's no longer available. The same thing with nicotine. Nicotine, they can just start saying, hey, you know what, you need to have a license, and this license now is going to cost you X amount of dollars. Well, guess what? Majority of people, like Mallory, maybe, hey, I can't afford to buy this bottle of e-liquid to make my DIY stuff, because now I need to get a license. I need to prove that I have a safe environment. I have to prove that I have a safe. They can just keep adding laws. Lobbyists, that's what lobbyists do. They just keep pushing and pushing senators and congressmen to, hey, you know what? You want to stop these kids from getting nicotine in their system? Well, make it more difficult to purchase nicotine and go after the DIYers that way. You'll be able to get flavors because that's a food product. But nicotine is a product that they can really make very difficult for someone to get if they really wanted to. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that they could be doing that they haven't done yet. But I think if they ever feel like they're losing this battle with us, that I think that's something that may start to happen. It's just limiting the VG and the PG. Hey, just say, hey, they manufacture it. They manufacture it so they can do whatever they goddamn want to do with it. If they start saying, hey, if you want VG and PG, prove to us that you have a safe room. And let's just say that safe room is going to cost you $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 to make. Well, Mallory's not going to build a safe room in her fucking house, and spend $8,000, $10,000. It's pretty bad. We're going to jump into the safety part for our UK followers out there. Make sure you're using the right cord. Make sure that's number one, right, guys? Make sure you're using the cord that came with the device. Don't throw it away like we all do. We all throw it away because we think we've got that cord. We got 70 of them in there.
Before I fire that one up on the screen, to a couple points to Curtis's question. He's like, what's with all the drugs? What happened to vaping? I think what we were trying to do is highlight what's going on, because there is a correlation to the same type of fight in that sense, and that the government is starting to once again maneuver to where it's nanny state policy again, and they know what's best for everyone without even allowing people to make their own adult decisions on what they want to do with their life.
Well, and that too, and the fact that I thought here is an industry that's been fighting for the last 200 years to get where they're at today, and we're just 15 maybe 17 18 years into this fight, and just see that this industry, even though they've been fighting for over 200 plus years to get where they're at today, are still fighting, are still trying to figure it out what's going on. And like Tim said, it's a perfect example is they gave, it's like here, you ever seen that little, it's a little sketch on Family Guy where he puts a little piece of candy down and he's trying to trap some guy and he's like, ooh, piece of candy, ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy, and then it's under a box, and the box falls down on top of him.
Right.
And it's exactly what this feels like. It's like, oh, we're just going to give him a little bit of candy. We're going to pick that one up and go to the another piece of candy. Ooh, and next thing you know, the whole industry is under a box. And we're done. So,
and to Jeffrey, exactly. I mean, so if an adult is of sound mind and body and can make conscious, educated decisions for what it is they want to do with their life, whether or not that has negative impact on their life, if that negative impact is such that it causes you to break a law, right? Get in your car and drive, or do something dumb while under the influence, then the adult who's taken the responsibility to make the decision to consume that said item, if that results in them violating legitimate laws on the books, then that the adult needs to be prepared to accept responsibility for their actions. So it kind of balances itself out, in the end, but if they're just somebody just at home cooking out on the smoker, watching the game, and they're just chilling, like, why are you going to take that thing away from them? They're not doing anything to anybody. They're not hurting anybody else in their general vicinity. I don't understand it. And then to Neil's point, he said the PMTA registry laws are getting ready to kick in there, and he said that shops are getting ready to close, and that some of the shops in his area or around the state in Arkansas are actually starting now to sell cigarettes and stuff inside those stores, which were once no cigarette zones. And so the hypocrisy in all of it is just mind blowing. Where it's like, okay, and now you are worried about the kids going to places and getting stuff that you quote unquote don't think kids should have. Now you're just going to put even more deadly shit in those same stores, and the kids could try to get that shit from there. So it's just
let's remember this used to be available in the United States. 150 grain, 150 proof was okay. I could go into the store and buy it all freaking day long, and nobody's going to say, Yeah, and you can only drink a teaspoon of it because you're fucked up after a teaspoon of it. But that's, that's okay. It's socially acceptable. Get drunk as much as you want. All right, let's get back to the cords.
Yeah, so
Keep
here you go,
cords,
Curtis.
people.
Just for you, we're gonna go back to the vaping conversation. Just for you, buddy.
Keep those damn cords, people. Don't throw them
for
away.
You. So take a big rip, sit back, and listen to this article. Hold on.
I'm trying to
John,
save
you're
lives
fuzzy.
and my throat.
You're fuzzy.
Bam! Focus.
All right. So and further point too. Bogan did make a video regarding the disposable vape ban, and he was calling out sort of like the hypocrisy that there was an article that was written. I don't know who the author of this article was, that just basically said, well, because the disposable ban is coming, that people are running to the stores and stockpiling on disposables. And what he was trying to point out is that, it's funny that you're going to highlight this component of it, because just because the single-use disposables are going away, all of the refillable devices, all of the tank-based devices, all of the stuff that you can use for vaping equally is still widely available, easily accessible. It's not like he doesn't seem to understand why people are in a panic mode because they can't have their dispos. It's like you're still going to be able to get plenty of other stuff. It's not the end of the world. So why highlight that so much? Yeah. So, all right, let me make this one a little bit bigger.
That's what she said.
All right. So the UK government has decided to go ahead and be helpful and talk about fire warnings over risks of rechargeable vapes, right? Because now that most people have ventured away from the smoke devices and the TPD tanks and the stuff of, I guess we could jokingly say, the stuff of yesteryear. Right? Yeah, the stuff. Yeah, back when John and I are still having, like, we wake up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night and worry about our cardo tank with the silica wick in it. Yeah. Now people are freaking out over their disposables.
Before John had back issues.
Yeah, and their damn ceramic coils that are so efficient. God damn it. Yeah. Disposable vapes will be illegal to buy in less than a week's time, and a fire service has issued a warning to people switching over to reusables when the ban comes in. Essex Fire and Rescue Service said it had seen a rise in charger fires associated with reusable vapes, many of which are entirely preventable. The majority of vape-related fires we attend are caused by unsafe charging, particularly using the wrong charger or leaving devices charging unattended, said Andrea McAllister, the service's head of prevention. We've seen too many fires caused by counterfeit or incompatible chargers and batteries, she added, which is interesting to me because like nowadays, like even if you want to argue unsafe chargers, now I can get like the unattended charging component, right? Because we've always said for years, like, if in a pinch you need to charge up your device by having the USB thing plugged into the wall, yeah, fine, go ahead, but just make sure you monitor it. Use a device that uses replaceable batteries, 18650s, all that stuff. But at the same time, I still struggle a little bit because most chargers that you buy to recharge those particular batteries are like automated. Like
exactly,
it's not like the Gear Falcon charger where you can you have to be mindful of what amperage rate you're charging at and what the capacity of the voltage of the battery is and all that stuff. Like it's not Ohm's law to use a charger. So it's interesting that they're using incompatible. I can maybe see them using a charger that was only made for nickel metal hydride and they're trying to charge a lithium battery or something like that. Recent data from Essex Fire and Rescue shows that in 2021 and 2022, only 2 vape-related fires were reported each year, but that number rose to 17 in 2023 and 2024. The number is small compared to the millions of people in the UK who vape, but as more people switch to rechargeable devices, it is a trend the fire service is keen to address. Ms. McAllister recommended staying in the room while a reusable vape charged to quickly spot any signs of overheating or malfunction. It's also crucial to use the battery and charger that came with your vape. And if you need a replacement, always buy from a reputable source, she said. The county's fire service is offering free home fire safety visits to people in Essex who vape or smoke.
That's actually nice. That's actually nice.
So here's a house that burned, got gutted, was caused by a vape left charging on a bed, which overheated and set fire to the mattress.
You don't put them on your bed, people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they need to know that, I guess.
Common sense has to prevail here.
But let's remember, you know, we used to have fires with people that fell asleep in their recliner smoking a cigarette.
That's true. That's true.
Exactly.
Grandpa, I told you to smoke outside, Grandpa.
Every second, approximately 13 vapes are thrown away or recycled incorrectly in the UK, according to the latest research. How do they know this?
Yeah, I know.
Do they actually go? They wait till somebody throws the trash out, and then they start digging through the trash and take count of how many vapes are thrown away per household. Vapes are powered by lithium-ion batteries, which, when thrown away and crushed, have caused fires in bin lorries and waste centers. So, for those who are not from the UK, a bin lorry is a trash truck.
It's a trash truck.
That's a trash truck, right? So, waste centers, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. The ban on disposable vapes aims to reduce the environmental impact of vaping and its appeal to children and young people. There's another one.
Ooh.
Essex Fire Service. Okay, well, I don't know. This is maybe the same house. I don't know. Can't tell. Those who vape are also being warned of the dangers of counterfeits, with raids by trading standards teams on shops in Southend-on-Sea recently uncovering 1,000 non-compliant disposable vapes. Similarly, in Thurrock, 45,000 illegal vapes have been seized in the past 3 years, including some sold at a car boot sale. For those who are not from the United Kingdom, the car boot is the trunk, the trunk of the car boot.
The boot.
Sale. Yeah, exactly. Car, just because they drive on the other side of the car does not mean does not mean their tires are made of boots or anything like that. Like they don't. Yeah,
they're not selling boots. They're not selling boots. Yeah.
We aim
vapes aren't coming.
UK. We love them.
We aim to translate here on the
you
show.
don't get a pair of boots with every vape. That's not what they're saying. Just keep that in mind.
Exactly. I mean, and chips or fries. Okay,
yeah,
just letting y'all know. Chips
and the
fries.
lift. What is the lift? The lift is the elevator.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yes,
The
exactly. Lift. All right. So
and the car park is a parking lot.
They're very good.
Right, and a queue. What's a queue? A queue's a line.
Exactly. Get
and what do they call cigarettes there?
Fags.
Fags. That's one of the best ones, though. I love that.
That's the best one. That's the best one.
Exactly. So now everybody can go ahead and book your ticket to the United Kingdom.
You're ready.
You're fully literate and can speak the language. So.
You know the slang, baby. You're in.
Yeah, exactly. You're in. Yep.
You ask to see the king right away.
How do they say aluminum? Aluminium.
Aluminium.
That bores me too.
Yeah.
That's one of the favorite ones of mine.
That's just torture. Like that's not right. Like you're
not right.
You're ruining the paradigm. It's aluminum, bro.
Oh yeah, that's true. Right. The gun one's funny too. I forgot about the gun. Hootie tootie.
So in March, magistrates ordered the Mellow Yellow Vape Shack in Grays to be closed for 3 months after illegal vapes and tobacco were discovered for the second time in 6 months. Shame for shame on you, Mellow Yellow Vape Shack.
You Mellow Yellow.
Health experts agree anyone who does not smoke should not start vaping, as it may cause long-term damage.
You got to add that. You got to add that to the end of the article, of course.
But here's the irony, John. Here's the irony in that whole article is that when it's a negative vaping article, nobody reads the bottom of the article that has like the last little bit that might have something positive to say about vaping. Like health experts are aware that vaping is not, it's safer than smoking, but they put that on the last line. In this case, no one's going to know. No one's going to know because they're just going to be like, oh, cool. They're helping us out. They're teaching us how to be safe about our batteries. And charging practices. No one's going to get to that last sentence.
And I'm not sure about that. That's interesting. We'll have to look that up. I'm not sure if that's how the law is written, but that would be kind of weird. You could still import those vapes, but you can't sell them. So I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
I don't know that any of this is actually really important when you get down to it. I don't think it's going to really help the situation personally. That's just
it's going to get worse. They're not going to be able to stop the bootlegging of the disposable vapes coming into the UK, and they're not going to be able to control what's in them anymore. They're just going to have guys selling them out of the boot, and the one thing that they tried to avoid, they're just bringing it on to themselves. And again, look, I'll ask Tim and Michelle, do you think, if they would have had a recycling program established before the disposables came out, what do you think it would have made a difference?
Well, I think we kind of covered
that's the card they're playing. That's the card they're playing.
Well, right, but I would argue that even if people have an avenue to properly dispose of them, that people are ignorant to the convenience anyway, right? It's like recycling, right? I mean, there's lots of people in this world who are recycling conscious, but then there are a lot of people who are like, I know I could do it. I have to use that other bin, but fuck that. I'm just going to throw it in the trash.
Right.
And it's whatever. So I think even if you gave people an avenue or a path to properly recycle them, I think a lot of people would just avoid it anyway and throw it on the ground. People are people. They just do stupid shit.
Yeah. It's the same.
If they had a more of a educational thing about kids, and if they took the avenue of, guys, the kids are picking them off the ground, or they're taking them from the house, or, if you're just more conscious adults, I think if they took that approach and said, look, we could end this, if we just did it the right way, but you have to be responsible first. And if they really honed in on that, I think that would help.
Yeah.
But,
I think, like Tim is saying too, I think we see that attitude with Brian King when he was answering the question from Allison, how low does the number need to be before you're happy? And he says 0, which we all know is never, ever, ever going to happen. And I think it applies here. Even if 99% of the users were actually recycling this program, they would still be going after that 1% and using it against the industry. Oh, you still have, X amount of people still throwing them on the street. It's a non-win. That's always been a concern of mine. And I think the other concern with the UK is the nicotine level. So in the disposables, so they're not able to control that level in those disposables. And I think that was one of the issues that they were fighting for, is because you can get 50 milligrams in the disposable, and you're only allowed 25 there? 20 there. So I believe. So China could have averted all this and just put 20 milligrams of nicotine.
But, on the other hand, how much would they be vaping then? I mean, because some people need more than 20. Exactly. And you're vaping it more and more and more. And more and more of them are going to end up on the street or wherever in the wrong place.
I mean, it's just weird. I always thought about that. It's like, okay, well, if we had, this set up to be where everyone would bring, like vape shops would just say, hey, bring in your used, disposable. We'll give you $1.50, $2 off the next one. Would that make a difference? Would that drive? I think you drive a good portion of your customers would come back with those devices. And I think like Tim's saying, I think there's still going to be some that it's like, oh, it's done, and throw it in their garbage can in their kitchen, Yeah.
So, well, I mean, I want to touch on Neil Pitt's comment here too. But to that end, I did talk to a local vape shop about this. Because one of the places I go, I said, have you ever thought about, running like a recycling program, here at the shop, just because, at the time the disposables I was buying were not, these you know,
Right.
detachable penis things. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. So, you know, he's like, yeah, he's like, you know, we've considered it on several occasions. He's like, but here's the challenge is that even if I ran a program like that, he said, it's very difficult for me to find a place to come take them.
Yeah.
You know, so unfortunately, even though he's collecting them, even if he could have a program that gave you some kind of a percentage kickback on your account, like in the form of points, reward systems, or something like that, he doesn't have a convenient avenue for himself.
Yeah.
To offload them once he's collected them. So
China doesn't want them back.
You need cooperation on both sides. You know, if you're gonna, you know, if a recycling incentive is one thing heavily considered to preserve vaping, then you're going to have recycling companies. And you know what they're going to do? They're not going to be like, yeah, we'll swing by and pick them up for free and get rid of them for you. They're going to be like, we're going to charge you by the pound, you know, for all these devices. And I get it. The battery might weigh, you know, 25% of that device, but we're going to charge you for all the plastic that has to be disposed. Any of the toxic elements that are left behind in the device that needs to be removed safely and all that other stuff. So it, you know, it's going to cost you X number of dollars per pound.
Here's the thought. The state jumps in and says, we'll recycle them. That's profit for them. If the state were to say, yeah, we'll pick those up and recycle them, that works. It brings me back to this old story that I remember many, many years ago. And a very bright individual in the Bay Area decided that he wanted to start growing mushrooms. And his idea was he was going to collect coffee grounds, used coffee grounds from all the Starbucks in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Well, Starbucks was more than happy to give them all those coffee grounds. And he constantly came in. He had them pick up every single day of all these Starbucks and all these coffee houses in the Bay Area. And there's a lot of them. Once he started making money, guess what happened? Then Starbucks says, you know what? We're not going to give you our coffee grinds for free anymore.
Right. You got to buy them from us.
You're going to buy them from us because now he's making money. He's selling, he's making mushrooms. The business took off, went from, you know, a couple $100,000 a year business to millions of dollars a year in a company. And that same thing should apply for this. If people could see there is money here to be made in this recycling of these products, if there's truly that many of them out there floating around, there's money to be made. On this. It's just somebody like Tim's saying there needs to be someone that steps up and is willing to pick these all up and then go through the process of, you know, breaking them down, taking the plastic out, taking the chips out, taking the batteries out. But I'm sure there's profit in there. So if anybody wants to start a recycling,
absolutely, there's profit. There's profit there. Somebody with the right capitalist mindset could effectively create. I mean, if you think about the sheer volume of the devices around, you know, you could have a company called, you know, Vape Cycle or something like that, and they have field offices everywhere with fleets of trucks that just go out and pick stuff up. And I mean, somebody could make hand over fist doing that. I wanted to address Neil's comment here. Neil, you are correct, sir. So basically, the ban itself, which takes effect on June 1st, will prohibit the sale and supply of single-use vapes within the UK. This ban covers all disposable vapes, regardless of where they are imported from. The ban is aimed at reducing the environmental impact, but you get down to a subcategory where it says international considerations. So to Neil's point, the UK government acknowledges that they cannot outright ban the import of vapes without a European-wide or worldwide agreement. This highlights the challenges of regulating vaping products in a global market. So while they're illegal to sell within the country, they can still come in. They cannot stop the flow of it coming into the country unless they opine other countries in Europe to say across the board, nothing can come into the European Union from a disposable perspective.
So when you think about it, it really isn't doing anything. I mean, as of right now, it really isn't. I mean, because if everything can still come in, it's illegal. Well, it's illegal for them to be sold now there.
Right.
doesn't do any good. I mean, none of it. It's just a lot of hoopla for nothing.
It's just some I don't know what they don't call them, senators or congressmen there, but some member of parliament trying to look good. That's what basically trying to look like he's protecting the children. He's protecting the children.
Well, well, I mean, and Jeffrey makes another good point. I mean, the point is that you once again now, it goes without saying that people will still have access to vaping devices. So it's got to stop painting this, and people who are questioning it, painting it as though it's a full-on ban on vaping in the UK. It's just the disposable component of it. Now, there will be people who are like, I don't want a tank. I don't want batteries. I don't want all that stuff. They're going to be the people that are going to end up buying shit out of the boot.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's still going to be flowing into the country. And, and there you go. The black market dealers are going to make hand over fist selling disposables. So as long as you're just not caught, I mean, you still got to, because it just says it's a ban on them across the board. So I would guess that would mean if you're caught with one, you're kind of in trouble too.
Yeah. Don't get caught because those UK police are tough, man. They don't carry guns. They just start beating you with that little black stick that they have.
And penalties for non-compliance will vary across the UK, potentially including fines and even imprisonment for repeat offenders. So you're going to have to you're going to just keep it safe and just go. There's plenty of shit out there. Just don't go get like a TFV 18 and drop 50 milligram Nick salts in there. Not going to end well. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you are correct, James R. Yeah, they are affecting legitimate businesses. Yeah,
a resident pirate, James R.
It's the sad part is a lot of those businesses have been following the rules and regulations, and they're doing it the right way, and they're not being shady. They're not selling to young people. They're not, they're doing it the proper way, and now they're just getting kind of flushed out. But again, like we said before we started reading it, you can still get your mango vape in the UK. You can still get that mango vape. That's important. That's really important for me and Tim when we decide to go over there when the king invites us to come over and hang out with him. Tim and me, we plan on being knighted someday. So I want to be knighted as I'm vaping. So when he puts the sword down, I want to blow out this big old cloud
of mango.
Of mango, correct, Tim, of mango. And Sir John Truncali and Sir Tim Swift. There we go. And we'll be knighted for vaping.
The Mango Musketeers.
Yes. We'll be representatives of the vape industry in the U.S. knighted Sir Tim Swift and Sir John Truncali. Yeah.
Well, you're right, Neil, on that one, is that the argument from this side has always been, look, I don't care what you use, as long as you're using vaping products that work for you, that's the success story. But yes, the people that'll be harmed along the way are going to be people who really only can use that stuff because they're older, it's more convenient, less of a learning curve, or disabled, and they can't really use complex devices and stuff like that. So they fail to see the forest through the trees, I think, in many of these cases.
Yeah, and I myself was at least a 2.5 a day pack smoker in my truck. I just driving a truck all day. That's all I had was, I probably today, if I were smoking today and still driving, I'd probably smoke less because I have more distractions. I'd have my cell phone. I'd be probably watching a movie as I'm driving the semi down the road and doing a lot of other things. But back in the days, there wasn't really much to do. Listen to the radio, drive and smoke. That was it. And I was just smoking pack after pack. I think back to those days and I laugh because it took me all these years to realize that I had a carton of cigarette in every vehicle I owned and in my home. There was, and I thought about everywhere I was smoking in my house, never smoked inside the house, but outside the house, whether it was the front porch, the side patio, or the back patio, there was a pack. There's a pack in the ashtray there everywhere we went. There was a carton of cigarettes in my wife's car. There was a carton of cigarettes in my truck, and there were 2 cartons of cigarettes in my semi at all times. I did not want to run out of cigarettes, and you didn't want me to run out of cigarettes because I am driving 8,000 gallons of gasoline, and at any moment in time, I could snap.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's done a lot for a lot of people, and it's helped us in more ways than just from a health perspective. So, hey, John, we got about 13? We got about 13 minutes left, roughly. Do we want to? I'll go ahead and read the dear members letter from CASA, and we should touch on that.
Please do.
They've been a massive service to the consumer advocacy market and to consumers themselves. Granted, they relied heavily on donations to keep things afloat. They have provided an invaluable service to the vaping community from an advocacy perspective and fighting potential bans and other legislation that's trying to be passed through. They did wonderful things. Like they even made it so easy for you to get on the site and petition your local senators and representatives by rewriting basically your name, your phone number, your address, whatever little bit of information they wanted. It was tied right to your local representatives, sent letters off for you and form. So I mean, to have had them as an arm for advocacy and fighting for vaping is just invaluable. And it's unfortunate what has now become another piece of the cookie has crumbled, so to speak. So let's share that. So anybody who hasn't seen this, I'm sure everybody who watches the show has. If you have not, I'm going to read this for you. CASA is a wonderful organization, and it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward here. But I know you can't see this. I'll make it a little bit bigger because I think I'd have to make it like 350 before we get there. So, dear members, last July, CASA reached out to our members and allies with an urgent plea for funding. We spent the summer and into the fall approaching potential donors, but fell short of our goal. In turn, CASA continued cutting costs to the point where we were no longer able to support our small staff of 2 paid employees since August of 2024. CASA is, that was a period after employees. Since August of 2024, CASA is completely run by volunteers. We have secured funding to enable us to continue our legislative advocacy efforts until August of this year. But beyond that, we do not expect enough future support to continue in any meaningful way. It is with mixed emotions that we are taking this opportunity to announce that 2025 will be CASA's last year of active engagements. While we will be ceasing our legislative advocacy at the end of August, our website, CASA.org, remains a valuable educational resource documenting the history of vaping, explaining tobacco harm reduction, and celebrating the consumer-led revolution and adoption of safer nicotine products. CASA will use some of our remaining funds to keep the website active, although we anticipate transforming it into a legacy site. This means that information contained on the site will be pared down so that the site will require a little maintenance. Although we have gratefully received feedback from fellow advocates and industry leaders praising our efforts and noting the significance of our role in the consumer-led tobacco harm reduction movement, those accolades are rarely accompanied by financial support. For the better part of a decade, CASA has articulated this dissonance by saying that it is absolutely appropriate for businesses to devote most or all of their advocacy budget to state and national trade groups. While industry support has made up a significant portion of our funding, it was never expected that shops and manufacturers would pay for everything. Being supported by our consumer membership has allowed us to remain independent in our policy positions and advocacy messages that support affordable and legal access to safer alternatives to smoking. But that independence is fragile, and we experience the consequences from bucking the narrative of the largest tobacco companies when we oppose policies that ban sales of unauthorized products that still make up more than 90% of the safer nicotine market. Since 2009, CASA has been a tireless voice of and for consumers who switched away from combustion to safer, smoke-free nicotine products. We have done this work on a shoestring, which is a testament to the power of our stories. CASA has represented our members in city halls, state legislatures, and federal regulatory bodies, as well as shared the consumer view at professional conferences and in the media. We have brought to our work the heart and soul that only comes from genuine grassroots advocacy. Consumers are being recognized as a vital part of the debate over the responsible regulation of less risky tobacco and nicotine products, which is a pillar of CASA's mission. We are not making this announcement from a place of desperation or futility. This is not the end, but merely a step in the evolution of consumers' awareness, acceptance, and access to safer nicotine products and a healthier future. Thank you for standing up for tobacco harm reduction. Sincerely, Alex Clark, who's been on the show before, Executive Director of CASA. So, it's sad to see the transformation of advocacy groups like this, because this was made up of advocates, people who, were, boots on the ground, keeping their eyeballs on all legislation going on throughout the country. They relied on us to tell them if stuff was popping up on the radar so they could get calls for action out. We've consistently promoted the show. You can see it on the banner at the bottom. It's been there, I think, since we started doing the show, John. It always scrolls at the bottom. So Alex and his team have done amazing work in the advocacy space. I hope that there is a future for them in some way, shape, or form. But it's a tough one out there, especially when they're relying on money coming from the consumer side of things to keep an outfit like theirs up and running. They only had 2 paid employees. Everybody else was doing it for the spirit of the fight. So anyway, I think a lot of duly noted thanks needs to go out to that team, and I hope that they are still around in some form, like they state that they're going to be, because they've done great work, and I hope they can continue to do that work in some format. So anyway,
and the link, I put the link in there for CASA's Twitter account, or X account, sorry, X. So Curtis, click on it and you can read it again.
I tried not to read too fast, Curtis. I was on a time limit here. We got 6 minutes.
No matter how slow you read it, all the cocaine has gone through his nose. He wouldn't have gotten any of it.
He hit the roof, and I crashed him out in a matter of about 6 minutes. So.
Zoom, hey Curtis, zoom. Oh man, yeah, it's sad to see a staple in the industry that's been doing their best to try to keep us. Hey, I mean, there's no simpler way of just clicking on a link and taking you to find out where your representatives are. Most of us in the very beginning had no clue who our state senators were, who our congressmen were, some of us don't even know who our city councilmen are, or God forbid, your mayor. So it was just nice having a place where you can click on that, see who represents you in your area, and be able to just with one click send them a letter.
Yeah, or call them, because they always include phone numbers and their addresses if you needed to make an appointment with them, and we're gonna miss them a lot.
I'm surprised that they're, I know, they, for some reason, I always assumed they had some sort of government exemption, being an advocacy group, but I don't know how all that works, as far as free, funding for websites and some of the other stuff. But you start to think about how the process every day at that site, and just trying to find and stay on top of what was going on in 50 states and every city, every county, every little hole in the wall place, and and then utilizing its members to stay on top of what's going on. And that was the great thing I thought was amazing. It was just they can't stay on top of everything that's happening in the country, but they relied on us to let them know what was going on in our cities and our states, and to get the help needed to fight it. And they put all that stuff out. It takes time. It takes time and money to keep a website open and keep someone employed to actually enter all that data daily. and finding those links and finding out who your city councilman is and District 14 of some little state, so
right. But I mean, I felt like that was sort of like the golden egg, the golden goose kind of thing. It was like, people ask all the time, well, how can I advocate? Well, we can say it a million times, like, pick up the phone, give your representative a call, write them a letter. Like you actually got to go somewhere to a website where they basically handed it to you on a silver platter, and they still allowed you to go in and modify that form letter to include your story and tweak it to your own language, because we've been told that, like, when senators and governors, like, they get those form letters and they just kind of get spammed in on them, that they're less likely to look into them, unless there was something more unique about it. Otherwise, I think it's just bots behind the scenes doing it. But that aside, I mean, to advocate, how much easier could they have made it for you to be able to do that?
Yeah. And it came to you, their alerts came to your email. You didn't even have to know that there was anything going on around you, because you could rely on them to get you the information to say, hey, I need you to act on this because it's happening in your area,
Yeah, that's the greatest part of it. I thought was amazing, Michelle, is because you didn't get a bunch of spam email that wasn't going to be a concern of yours. It should still have been a concern of yours, but they focused on your area. So they kept you up to date in your area.
Lived.
Yeah. So it wasn't like you were getting hammered with, you live in California and they were sending you stuff for, some city in Chicago. No, you were getting stuff specific for your area. And when they posted those numbers, it was sad to see that, how many people were actually opening those emails, and they know if you're opening them. So, and to see that number so low of people that were actually opening and physically reading the emails was kind of sad. It was kind of sad. If you're going to take the time, not just to advocate, but to become a member of CASA, and you're going to get these emails, and these emails are concerns in your area, open them, find out what's going on, see what you can do about it. Is it maybe sometimes it was just a phone call, sometimes it was just a quick email, So, it was that simple for us. It couldn't have gotten any simpler. Like Tim is saying, it was basically as easy as it gets when it came to advocacy.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Well, I mean, on the heels of all that, who's to say? I mean, they didn't really go into full detail exactly what the site would be like, but just keep in mind that, those calls to action, that awareness, and pointing you to specific bills that were in play. That footwork is going to have to be done by us on our own now. And we're not going to have that luxury. So now even more than ever, you got to keep your head on a bit of a swivel. And at least maybe you can't monitor all 50 states, but you can at least pay attention to your own.
To your local.
Make sure and tell people around you that there's something going on if you find out. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're done. We're officially done. It is 6 p.m. We knocked it out. We talked about Jell-O. We talked about barbecue, swimming. We talked about fires and making sure you use the right cord. Don't throw that cord away, guys. It's in the box for a reason. It's keep the cord. Right. Don't say I got 60,000 of these already in the drawer somewhere. And you're mad because the cord that came in the box is only 3 feet. You don't need a 6-foot cord to charge your damn fucking vape, guys.
Sometimes.
Right? You don't.
Practice battery safety.
Yes, that's the big one, dude. And one of the things I want to stress is Tim brought up, yes, we do have devices that charge batteries now, and they will trickle charge them. They will stop charging. They will keep them, full for you without damaging them. But pay attention. If your battery is 2 years old, it's probably not that good anymore. Don't keep. I know people that go, I've had these batteries for 5 years. Yeah. How many puffs you get out of it? 6, and then it's dead. Is that good enough for you? They're $4. You can go to battery, whatever it's called, and you can get a Samsung 18650, whatever the number is. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's the ones I buy all the time.
25.
But they're like, they're 25R. Samsung 25R.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. $4. $4. Yeah. What else did we talk? Tim talked about
We talked about dope for a while.
We talked about THC. Yeah. So that is it. I don't think we have anything else.
Okay.
Michelle talked about smash burgers, and
Yes.
she made me hungry, and I want to make a smash burger now.
Yeah.
We will have a poll on the Wednesday night live show on my page. Which burger? I'm going to do that right after the show is done. Smash burger, 1-inch burger.
Make sure and tell them it
quarter
was
pound,
my
half pound, double patty.
Yeah. Or you go to and you get the what do you call it at In and Out, where you can get the quad patty or whatever.
They do that at Wendy's. I thought Wendy's does the same thing, right?
Too. Yeah. I don't get it, dude. How? My mouth doesn't get that big. It does not get. I don't understand it.
Well, John, they wouldn't sell it if somebody couldn't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Might not be you.
It might be you. I've seen one where it was on TikTok. Before we go, it was just this huge, massive burger, and it was just the patty was like that thick, and it had like bacon was at least like that thick as well, and that should have been enough, right? No, let's just pour hot melted butter over the top of it.
Cheese, one of the two, yeah.
Cheese too, hot melted butter and hot cheese on top of it. Okay, I'll ask Michelle.
You're making me hungry, John. Stop.
I'll ask Michelle and Tim and everybody else that it's out there. Is it still a burger if you have to use a fork and a knife to eat it? Tim?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I'm surprised.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. Sometimes you gotta cut that bitch in half. That's all I gotta
say. All right, I'm just checking. It's a good question. So all right, everybody, we are done. We appreciate it, everyone out there in chat. Always, we love seeing you guys, and we love the fact that you comment. We love comments. We love answering your stuff. We will all be back. There's no holiday, right, next week?
No, we're in the clear. Yeah, no more federal holidays.
I think the next one is Labor Day. Is that right? Yeah.
There's Flag Day, isn't there?
Well, no, you got the 4th of July coming up.
Oh, that's right, 4th of July.
That's right.
How could I forget that one? That's the big one. And there will, I promise you, there will be Jello involved in my 4th of July party. There will be Jello. All right.
Will it be green?
Red, white, and blue. You got to have red, white, and blue Jello on 4th of July. Come on, man. Come on. Let me make sure I got the right video, and I do. Everybody, look into the camera and say goodbye to everybody. Bye everybody.